You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, holy welcome, holy welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, or good whatever time of day you might be watching this. My name is Anita Sheff, and I'm a licensed practitioner with Centers for Spiritual Living here in St. George. And today I'm going to be guiding you in a meditation about the spiritual principle of good. You may remember that a few weeks ago, Reverend Joe shared with us an affirmation about good that was written by our founder, Ernest Holmes. And he suggested memorizing it and using it daily. Maybe some of you have been doing that, as I have. So I've been using the affirmation for 3 weeks and just letting it play and expand in my mind. So I'm going to invite you this morning to join me in claiming our good. So take a nice deep cleansing breath with me. And as you release it slowly, let it carry away any tension in your body. Just feel yourself relax into this space. Again, breathe in slowly and fully, and let it go with a big sigh. And one more breath in. Nice, full breath. And as you let this one go, mentally close the door to your external environment. And now just let your breath return to its own natural rhythm. And make this claim for yourself right now. Good and more good is mine. And ever increasing good is mine. There is no limit to the good which is mine. Everywhere I go, I see this good. I feel it. I experience it. It crowds itself against me, flows through me, expresses itself in me, and multiplies itself around me. Good and more good is mine. And so take the next minute in silence to recognize how good shows up in your life. Does good appear in your life as abundance? Abundance, and more abundance is mine. And ever increasing abundance is mine. There is no limit to the abundance which is mine. Everywhere I go, I see this abundance. I feel it. I experience it. It crowds itself against me. It flows through me. It expresses itself in me and multiplies itself all around me. Abundance and more abundance is mine. How does abundance make you feel? Free? Safe? Satisfied? Engulfed in beauty? Blessed? Take a minute now to contemplate abundance in your life. Maybe your experience of good is joy. Joy and more joy is mine. An ever increasing supply of joy is mine. There's no limit to the joy which is mine. Everywhere I go, I see joy. I feel it. I experience it. It crowds itself against me and flows through me. Joy expresses in me and multiplies itself all around me. Joy and more joy is mine. Does your joy feel like peace, purpose, creative expression, maybe laughter bubbling up from inside? Take a minute now to feel joy within you. Maybe the highest expression of good in your life is love. Love and more love is mine. An ever-increasing love is mine. There is no limit to the love which is mine. Everywhere I go, I see love. I feel it. I experience it. Love crowds itself against me, flows through me, expresses itself in me. Love multiplies itself all around me. Love and more love is mine. What feelings do you associate with love? Warmth, appreciation, connection, gratitude, exuberance. However you experience love in your life, just sink into that abundance right now and feel that love. Take another deep breath with me. And as you breathe out, affirm with me, good and more good is mine. And so it is. Now just gently begin to move your body, wiggle your fingers and toes. Let your eyes slowly open. Let a smile come to your lips. Thank you for meditating with me. And thank you for showing up in the world as good. And stay tuned for our service. It'll begin in just a moment.
There's something in the air, the dream of life in love, with minds that rest in prayer, sparking joy we're in awe. No matter where your path has been or time will somehow flies, like souls will come home again, true friendship ever thrives. Is this where the magic happens? Can you feel the farce revealed right now in you and me? The secret is wherever we are. There's something in a smile that can turn a day around. Moments so worthwhile when we find common ground. No matter what the day might bring, right here we can align, knowing that we will be seen as perfect, whole, divine. This is where the magic happens. Let's feel all the hearts. Come close to me and me to you. The secret is wherever we are. So meet me where the magic happens, feeling all the hearts ignited now in you and me. The secret is wherever. The secret is whenever. The secret is together we are.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Those slides make me talk about joy, Anita. Anita, thank you. What such a wonderful, wonderful meditation. It was definitely magical. So we're delighted to have you guys with us here today. We are Center for Spiritual Living St. George, and my name is Chris McCardle. We are a open and loving and inclusive community, and we support your thinking creatively and living your own version of a deeply spiritual life. And one of our themes or background stories is our purpose statement. And our purpose statement is to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence, to awaken our community to its divine nature, and the greatest expression of who we are. And I think we're doing that. So our service today, let's see, who do we have here? Our tech behind the scenes is the lovely Star Starrett. She's one of our practitioners. And that meditation just blew me away. I have a confession, Anita, and to everybody right here live on Facebook and YouTube, is that usually on service days, I don't actually do the meditation because I do my meditation on my own. Today, I couldn't help it. Anita just drew me in, and I kept shutting my eyes, and I kept going within, and I kept smiling and feeling the abundance of my life. And Anita, great job. You're also going to be doing the invocation. Can't wait to hear that. Getting us started. Music is going to be by Mr. Alan Stanley, which we all love and adore. And the reading is by the lovely Gwen Hadley, who has returned from a lovely vacation, and me, your host. And, you know, that guy, Reverend Joe, he's going to be giving the talk today. I can't wait to hear what the top topic. I mean, I know what the top topic is. Can't wait to hear what Joe has come up with for this topic. So I think it's time to bring Alan in to give us some music.
Good morning. Hello,
Hey,
Chris.
my brother, I love you to death. Take us away.
You. Are you ready?
I'm
get
ready. I'm ready.
Okay, get ready.
I'm ready, my soul.
So we're going to sing. This is a Daniel Namod song, and you can sing along or just hum. Then we'll sing a little bit, and then Anita will come back and do our invocation, and we'll sing a little bit more. So just sit back and relax and get ready. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to the present moment, here to a new beginning, here, and I'm seeing life clearly now. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of love. Get ready, my soul.
I invite you to join me. Get ready, my soul. Oh, I love that. And I'm diving into the awareness that there is one presence, one power, one source of all life, and that it is right here in me, creating me moment to moment, living through me. And this is the truth that I know for everybody listening to these words. And so today I choose to take that deep dive into that place of joy and love that I identify with my heart. And I open myself to that divine nature. I flow in that stream of divine abundance. And I know for each person here that it is our natural inheritance. And right now, I claim this birthright of joy, of love, of abundance and flow and purpose in life. And I know that each person who speaks or presents this service this morning is right in that flow of divine inspiration. And I know that each person who participates in this service in any way joins us in consciousness and is also in the flow. And this flow is continuous and it's infinite. And we delight in sharing it and welcoming others into it. And so this service evolves perfectly and speaks to each and every person who listens in some unique and perfect way. And I just give thanks for this knowing. And so it is. Amen.
So it is. So it is. Thank you, Anita. Here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in, get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of life, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. I would like to invite Gwen to do our reading for today.
Thank you, Alan. Good morning. Wonderful music as always.
Thank you, Gwen.
So the reading that I'm doing is from a book entitled Listening to Your Inner Voice, Discover the Truth Within You and Let It Guide Your Way by Douglas Block. And the reading is entitled Claim Your Inheritance. Throughout spiritual traditions, human beings are depicted as the children of a loving creator who has offered us his kingdom. Repeatedly, we hear that abundance, joy, and prosperity are at hand right now. Yet, though the harvest is here, the laborers are few. Why is this so? In spiritual life, there exists a law called the law of demand and supply. Before substance can manifest itself, a need must be expressed. For example, if I desire to buy a home, this demand creates a force of attraction that will draw my home to me. The request comes first, the demonstration second. If you do not ask, you will not receive. Many factors limit what we are willing to ask for. We tell ourselves, I don't deserve it. I'm not good enough. How can I succeed when others have failed before me? Why should I have when others do not? In order to harvest the fields of plenty, we must plow up and discard these weeds of unworthiness, doubt, and guilt. Such self-imposed beliefs block the good that is our rightful gift. Our rightful gift. Affirm your own worthiness to participate of life's bountiful harvest. Then go forth to claim your divine inheritance. So it is.
So it is. Thank you, Gwen. That's just what I'm going to do. I might not ask. I'm just going to grab it because it's there, I know. So y'all sing along again if you'd like. This song was written by Michael Gott, and I like it. It's like the air around me. It's like the sunlight on my face. I feel the love of God surround me. I'm touched by amazing grace. And all I've ever wanted, and all I've ever needed was already there. Closer than the sunlight, nearer than the air. I breathe in, I am filled with the Spirit. It is health to my body, it is peace to my mind, it is joy, joy to my soul. And I breathe out a simple prayer of thank you. And and my breath becomes a song that was singing all along. It was singing everywhere. It is nearer than the air. I breathe in. I am filled with the Spirit. It is health to my body. It is peace to my mind. It is joy. It is joy. It is joy. Joy to my soul. I breathe out my simple prayer of thank you. And my breath becomes a song that was singing all along. It was singing everywhere. It is nearer than the air. It's like the air around me. It's like the sunlight on my face. I feel the love of God surround me. I'm touched by amazing grace. And all I've ever needed, all I've ever wanted, is already there. Closer than the sunlight, nearer than the air.
Yay. I love that song. I love Daniel
Thank you.
Nahmod. One Power,
you.
boy, that's a
Yep.
good one too.
Me too. They just sing, both of them sing an octave above me, so a little bit of adjustment.
Okay, sit on a harder chair next time.
Ooh.
Hi again, everybody. So the monthly theme this month is going to be on a slide which I can't remember. There it is. The global theme this month is Living Everyday Wonder, and the month. Wait a minute. Back up, McCardle. The global theme this at this time is Living Everyday Wonder. Our October one is finances, and today's talk is money, so they say. And it is my privilege to bring on Reverend Joe. He's going to give us this talk today. Joe.
Hi, sir.
How are you?
I am wonderful, thank you. And I love your outfit.
Thank
You
you.
always brighten up the place. I appreciate it. And what a service we got going. Like you said, Anita's meditation, and yeah, it completely drew me in. And I loved how she took the homework, the life work that I gave, and made that into her own unique thing, and perfect songs. And we're rolling, aren't we?
We are rolling.
All right. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
All right. Good morning, blessed community. It's fall. And I say that, I'm not sure where you're at, but here in the West, it definitely notched down temperature-wise. The heavy winds came in here to Las Vegas and blew out the warmth, because I think it's currently about 59 degrees, which is quite cold for us. But it's so refreshing, right? It's all how we look at it and take it in. And so I hope you're doing well right where you are right now. We're going to continue to take a look at money. And, I sat down to write the talk and to create the talk, and I was like to myself, kind of like, how much can we talk about money? Holy cow. And yet, as things unfolded, it's like that idea of the onion. You keep peeling layers off of it and see what's inside. And there's some more to look at for sure. I'm going to start out with a quote that is not on the slide, so I'm letting Star know in the background there's no slide for this. But I just want you to take this in. That's why I don't want you looking at anything right now. So hear this. This is from Ernest Holmes. He says, the idea that it is wrong to treat for what we call material good is based on the belief that reality and actuality are separated by a gulf which can be bridged only through individual suffering, impoverishment, and misery, that man may be redeemed in some uncertain future, but not here and now. Many of us have that idea that we're not here to live our good, that it's not present right now, that we continually have to be in this state of doing something to receive it. And what we're going to take a look at today as we go through our talk is different myths that we have about our good, about abundance and so forth, that in a sense really create that bridge for us. It's not really there, but we create an energetic bridge that, I should say bridge, I'm sorry, wall, that, so we cannot receive it. And what we want to do is release it so we recognize that there's only one thing happening here. Because as we know in science of mind philosophy, our beliefs create our experience in this world. And if we see ourselves as an open conduit of the divine flow, then things happen easily. And our good simply comes to us, and almost to a level of not that we're taking it for granted, but we take it with gratitude. We're so grateful for everything, it just continues to flow. That's the law of reciprocation, right? What we give out comes back. It has to. But if we have some clogged channels and maybe we're not quite aware of them, we don't realize that we're blocking our own flow. That's why it's so important to take a look at this. And we can tell if we're blocking our own flow in any area of our life by simply looking at what's showing up and how are we feeling about it. And that's the simple version, right? But again, we peel off these layers and we kind of recognize some things. And look, I want to start from the beginning. This is not about making us wrong. Okay, anything I say, if it makes you feel like, oh, I'm wrong, okay, that's an inner blockage, and we should celebrate that, right? So I'm going to point right here. That is our science of mind teaching symbol, okay? And I'm pointing that for a reason, because I want to say this. Our work is always in this middle layer right there, that middle layer I'm pointing to right there. And what we have to do is clear out all the dysfunctional thinking that we have to allow the flow in and out and in and out. And if you don't know the teaching symbol, that's okay. We will be going over that at some point, whether in a class or a future talk. So again, just another idea of physical, I'm a visual person. We can very easily open ourselves to the divine flow fully. And we can, at some level, unconsciously be blocking ourselves. And we can't just pretend that it's not there. And what I mean by it is the limited thinking, the beliefs of lack or limitation. And sometimes we go, oh, there it is, but we really don't do anything. Just by seeing it doesn't heal it. And so the way I look at it is we have to bring these thoughts and beliefs first to the light of our own awareness, and then the light of our acceptance in order to release them. So we have to go, yes, there it is. And we have to take full responsibility. It's saying, no matter where I learned this from, I'm the one holding that limited belief. So let me now release it. As the great author and technically even Reverend Louise Hay says, she says, you can't clean your house if you can't see the dirt in it. Right? So it's important to go looking at and making sure that we have a clean house. And so, as I said, we're going to take a look at some myths. And the first one I want to talk about is kind of a doozy. And the first myth is that great spiritual teachers were poor, or that they taught, in a sense, lack and limitation, that we shouldn't have good things. And now, so I'm going to talk first of the master teacher Jesus, because we hear that name all over the place, and he was a huge influence on the consciousness of our planet. And I'm grateful for him to teach us what he taught. And in the classic example of our culture, he wasn't, we know all about him, and we hear some things, and sometimes we hear maybe a truth covered up by man's addition. And often that man's addition, that's going to come from wherever that man was in consciousness. And sometimes back in the days, it was thought we should suffer. That's what we should do. That's why we're here. Okay. But going back to this idea that great spiritual teachers were poor, Jesus was not poor. Nowhere in the Bible does it say that he was poor. Even if from the very beginning, we may think that, because in the story in the book of Luke, his birth story, he was born into humble circumstances, meaning like the manger and stuff, but that wasn't because he was poor. Okay, it was because if you know the whole story, and you may not, that's okay, but they went looking for a place for Mary, his mother, to give birth, and they went to the inn, and the inn was full. So that's why they ended up where they did. It wasn't because they didn't have the money, and if you think about it in realistic terms, if they went to the inn, that means they could afford the inn. And so the fact that they were looking for a room there kind of shows that they weren't poor off. They had enough. And so it kind of makes you think, okay. And then there's a different birth of Jesus's birth story in the book of Matthew. And in Matthew, it has him in the house in Bethlehem where Mary lived. And then the Magi's brought the gifts. And of course, the first gift was gold. And that was gold because they recognized his level of consciousness, what he was bringing to the world, and that we needed that. And so they gave him gold to assist in funding his ministry from that level of even as a baby. Okay, so that's one of the biggest spiritual teachers that the West knows. And looking at him, when we see a lot of pictures that were, of course, obviously there's no photographs, but when he's drawn, he was always wearing a very a seamless robe, which was the sign of someone that had some money. It wasn't tattered clothes. And he mixed in with the rich-minded people as well as what we would call poor equally. A, because of his level of consciousness, and B, because of his experience. And so nowhere does it say again that he couldn't afford things. He was supported, and he also knew, if he recognized spiritual truths, and he also recognized that, as we say now, our good is here and now. So he was not lacking. Within the Bible, there's a famous statement that we may hear, and it says, paraphrasing, that it being hard for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven, and recognizing the kingdom of heaven is within. And it says something with regards to it would be easier for, I'm trying to remember, a camel to pass through the eye of the needle. And I looked into this even deeper. I'm just going to paraphrase in this idea that with that statement, it was when we are attached to the physical things in our world, when we are we have an attachment to objects, to money, meaning we feel we can't go without it. We lose sight of the fact that it is just like everything else. It is spiritual in and of itself, and it can be used as a tool, whatever it is. So when we become attached, then yes, it is hard for someone who's rich-minded only of objects to, in a sense, recognize the full presence of our good, because they don't see it that way. They're seeing, in a sense, I have to have more and more and more because they're not happy, not because they're happy. Okay. Moving on to the next great spiritual teacher would be Buddha. And I don't know if you know his story or not, but Buddha did not roll out of bed as the Buddha. He was a very wealthy prince, and I'm trying to say his name well, Siddhartha Gautama. And he, in a sense, he was so well off, that's what set him on his journey. He was kind of a captive, in a sense, in his own palace. His father was the king. And one day he went out and kind of saw reality. And that set him off on discovering what this life was really about. He saw people suffering. He saw death. He saw poverty. And through his journey, again, of self-awareness, okay, he recognized what was in the world, but he also recognized it comes through us. He took both extremes, his life of vast luxury and poverty, and found what he called and created the middle way. And so often we find ourselves thinking almost, well, it's the middle, I'm a fence sitter. But in this regard, no. He's just recognizing that it's okay to have enough. We don't, need storehouses full, and it's not right or righteous to, in a sense, be poor. If you choose that to go without, that's a whole different scenario. Okay. And finally, the Prophet Muhammad of Islam. He was also started out, and he was a wealthy trader. And he married into a rich family. Going back even further, the great Lao Tzu, who wrote the book Tao Te Ching, they were also, they had high places in their society before and then after, before they went on their spiritual journey. And so number of examples going throughout. And the point is this, maybe it's not best to look at all of our leaders today because they don't reflect this truth. Okay, and we can look to the people like Eric Butterworth who write books with regards to the idea that it is not righteous to go without. That if we're in alignment with the truth of the Spirit of the Divine Creator within us, then that allows all that it is to flow into our life. And the only thing that would stop us is our own belief that we can't. I did go into, I don't know if you've ever heard the story with regards, or the phrase or statement that with regards to Mahatma Gandhi, who said, it was said like, it takes a lot of people to keep Gandhi poor. And I looked into that because I couldn't remember the exact quote. And it's interesting that that actually was we're misunderstanding what was said. And the way this all got created was somebody who was close to him, a friend of him, I'm going to try to say her name, and it's Sarojini Naidu. I'm going to try. And she was very close to him, and noticing as he traveled around the entourage that needed to support him. And jokingly, she says to him, "Do you know how much it costs every day to keep you in poverty?" And that's, so it was a question to him in the sense of, you know, joking. And at the same time, do you recognize how life is showing up to support your ministry? So how can we look at this in different ways? That, you know, this doesn't come from a teaching on high that we should be poor and our life is limited and we should suffer. No. That's man's doing. That's coming through a filter of somebody else. A great quote I wanted to share with you, and Star, please bring this one up. It's a long one, but it's a good one. It says, "Neither Thomas Aquinas nor the Buddha argued that there is something inherently evil about worldly rewards. In fact, they can be used for great good. Money is critical for a functioning society and supporting your family. Power can be wielded to lift others up. Pleasure lemons life, and fame can attract attention to the sources of moral elevation. But as attachments, the focus of our life's attention, and as ends instead of means, the problem is simple. They cannot bring us the deep satisfaction we desire." So leave that up for a moment there, let them take that in. And the reason I wanted to share this is, again, we're the ones who give meaning to anything. And we often are not secure enough within our own being to come up with our own meaning. And we take on somebody else's meaning. And maybe because the whole crowd says, yes, that's how we should do it, or that's what we believe, we follow. And yet, if we were truthful and we go within, like that beautiful meditation that I needed, maybe we can recognize within ourselves that, you know what, I know a lot of people are saying that, but that's not what's true for me. And if anything, my friends, our teaching, we're not here to tell you what, but we're telling you, in a sense, guiding you to your own understanding and your own personal divine experience. Okay. Going back to it, I quoted him, I think I quoted him every week, the author, Raymond Charles Barker. He says this, he says, "Know yourself as you are in God, thereby ceasing the incorrect knowledge of yourself as mere man or woman. This redefinition is essential for your health, wealth, love, and self-expression." Now, going back to Master Teacher Jesus, who said, "I and the Father are one." And we can now say, "I and the Mother are one." It's all the same. There's only one power. That's what we're saying. One source of divine love. And so if we see ourselves as different than that, then we are creating a gap, a chasm between it and us, and then we cannot receive what is duly ours. Through our natural birthright, we are divine, right? If there's only one creative source, it created us, and it had to create us out of itself. And so what this quote is simply sharing again is that recognize yourself to the level that you can comfortably today. Recognize yourself as that. Because then you would realize that spirit is not going to withhold from itself. Why would it? That doesn't even make sense. Like, I'm all this, but I'm going to hold myself back. And I'm going to hold myself back. No, I'm going to experience all that life is. And that's what we're doing here through our own unique perspectives. All right, let's move on to myth number 2, which is debt and loss. How can we, which flows right into what I was just saying, how can we think at any time that there's debt or a loss? Because there's only oneness, there's only wholeness. Debt occurs in 2 ways. Consciously, when we make an agreement with someone to repay them for goods or services. So I'm going to get this now, and I agree to pay you back. That also happens because we have a consciousness of fear and a belief that the universe won't supply our needs. Okay, that's fact. Okay, another quote I will share by the great Emma Curtis Hopkins. She says, "The idea of the absence of good is plainly spoken enough. The idea of where the good must be and is, we are not talking about as a," and she can fill in the word, society. So what are we saying here? Well, we're focusing on the lack, people. And so we experience more lack. And what I choose to gather from this quote is that if we shift our focus to what is it that we want to experience, the good, and recognize that there's only one source it's coming from, and that we are worthy to receive, then it's law. We must receive. Okay. And in essence, we're always receiving. It's, are we willing to accept it on our own? Like, it's right here at our doorstep. It's Amazon. They've rung the bell, but are we going to go to the porch and let in our good? Was that not a modern example or what? I'm proud of myself for that one, because they come a lot. So it's up to us. Now, when we're experiencing debt or frustration or lack, to me, I like to be upfront. The best way to say this is we don't fully trust what we say we believe. And in that, we don't trust the infinite creator. And so the law is it's done to us as we believe. And if I don't trust God or source or divine flow, if I don't trust it and I think I have to hold it within little me, little Reverend Joe, then I'm going to only experience it to that little when I can open up to the fullness. Okay, it does take some trust. It does. I have no doubt. It's taken me a while to get to that point. And through what we call the religious science is about, really, it's almost spiritual science in the sense that, like, we say things are spiritual truth, and if they are, they should be able to show up and provable, okay, in our world. And everything that we share is. Another slide I'd like to show you from Charles Fillmore. He says, when you think of money as something directly attached to an invisible source that is giving or withholding according to your thought, you have the key to all riches and the reason for all lack. So he simply says it right there. It's done to us as we believe. Either we believe in a perfect, loving, invisible source, or we believe that it's not there and we withhold it from ourselves. All right. So, this shows up in our lives. A quick story I want to share. I'm watching time and I know we're running a little late, period. But during a Science of Mind class, there was a woman, a student, who felt scammed out of $800. And she was, again, in one of our classes. And because she recognized this idea, she suspended her idea of going into these old stories of lack and loss. And instead, she's with the support of the instructor and classmates, she put it into prayer and called to the universe to replace the lost or scammed money and more. Within 2 days, and this is a truthful testimonial, within 2 days, a person who owed her money that she did not expect to be repaid from called to say that she just deposited $1,000 in that student's PayPal account. So in fact, she not only received the $800 and more as she requested. And the reason she did was because she demanded it from the law, not demanding in the sense of I'm the power, but recognizing how this law works, okay, and allowed it to flow right back to her. Going back on another slide, and a lot of them take, there's so many great authors on this teaching. It's hard to leave them out. Eric Butterworth, who I mentioned 3 times already, he says if there's a lack of any kind, whether it's a need for employment or for money or for guidance or for even for healing, something is blocking the flow. And the most effective remedy, give. You may be thinking, but I need to receive. My hands are empty. I need someone to give to me. But you see, under the law of giving, when things get tight, something's got to give. Look for some way to start the giving flow. And that is wonderful sage advice right there. See, that's where we kind of hurt ourselves, is we feel lack and then we kind of hoard instead of giving. Now, it doesn't necessarily say if I'm lacking money, give money. But give, it's all energy, right? Money is the symbol of God's energy, God's divine love and blessings. And so as we give from ourselves, maybe it's helping somebody with groceries, maybe it's, there's a million things we could do to support just an act of kindness that keeps it flowing, not from the outside, because Spirit's good is always flowing from the outside. It's starting it from within us. All right, moving on to myth 3. Shame and fitting in. Many of us were raised in shame-based homes, schools we learned it at church, or just generally in culture. We tend to carry this around with us, which then limits our thinking, and we carry around with this idea of what's I'm looking for. We carry around a charge on things like money and sex, which are both forms of divine energy. And so we limit our good. This shame, this loathing is this going back to the very first thing of we were taught that, we need to suffer in order to receive and receive the blessings of life. And we don't. We're just plain wrong. We're taught that we're wrong, and that's part of the problem. Well, you shouldn't have too much, or maybe because of that, we don't have enough. We're taught to look at somebody else's wealth and then we put them down because they have it or what they're choosing to spend it on. You know what? They've allowed it into their life. They can choose to spend it on whatever they like. That's just judgment on our part. So what happens is we tend to often, too, another thing I want to share is often in a home, we're taught to not even talk about money. It's taboo, like many other topics. And so we learn to keep quiet and just fit in with everybody else. And we become sheeple, right? We just kind of go along. We don't want to rock the boat. Another limitation, a thought of limitation. And we don't understand why, like, I'm a good person. I may be helping people, but obviously going back to the last quote by Butterworth, we're blocking ourselves. And many of us have the old belief in our minds that having a great deal of money would cost us our friendships. Or have them like be disloyal to us. And so we kind of like, well, I don't want that. I want to keep my friends. So I limit my own good because of that. And this is just another way of peeling all these layers off that, and I'm throwing a bunch out at you to just get your mind percolating. Could that be me? Have I ever held the thought that maybe I shouldn't have enough money because? That's a belief in lack and limitation right there. There's nothing wrong with it. Oh, but what if I go and I really spend it on something I want? Should I have to justify it? No, you don't. Okay. Lastly, this idea of that our life tends to match the people with whom we constantly associate with. So if we want to expand our good, we have to expand not only our individual consciousness, but raise up the group consciousness that we keep ourselves within, or else it tends to pull us down. Why? Because it's the story, which is true, is that often when somebody starts rising up, there's going to be people that don't agree with it because of their own insecurities and thoughts and beliefs of lack and limitation. And so they pull you back down. No, you really shouldn't go for your dream. You know what happens? Or look at the facts, right? Look at the facts. And if all we ever did was look at the facts, we wouldn't be where we are today in any capacity. And I don't mean just living. I mean in technology, in the abundance, in our own health. Okay, so we can give our permissions to use this blessed imagination and create our own facts, and facts meaning reality. Ernest Holmes says this. He says, the thing to do is not to try to unify with people, but with the principle of life behind all people and things. This is working from the center and not the circumference. So what he's saying there is, what's the source of all? In this center is the source of all. Everything is an expression of it. So if we're again trying to change these little things, it doesn't have the same effect of recognizing this beautiful source that's emanating from me. Okay, but I have all these filters over it. And so as I look and go, oh, this one just, makes it blurry, and this one makes it look dirty in my world. So let me remove these things. And none of these things were truth. They're just things that we held on to. And maybe they were there to protect us at one point in time. Maybe we don't even know where they came from. And that's just simply living by default. But today we have an opportunity. Each and every day we have an opportunity to look within. I want to share this slide with you, which focuses on a belief with Islam. And so it does use the idea of God with his, because it's about Allah. But I want you to grasp the understanding. It says, she says, when we give from ourselves, we may run out of love, mercy, and compassion because we are finite. However, when we connect with Allah and act as a conduit of his love, we will never run out of the passion to serve the creation. We can bring kindness and love to all people at all times by intentionally connecting our heart with the divine and allowing his light to lead the way. So don't get caught up, please, in the his and such. Well, what is it saying? It's saying go to the love that we call spirit, right? Love, the joy, the laughter. Go with that. Allow that to lead our actions, which will then serves the entire, as it says, serve the creation. Okay, and we do this intentionally, meaning purposefully. So we have to add something into our day that reminds us to do this personally. Whew. All right, so I do listen to my children. I'm giving my son credit if he's listening right now, because he said, you need to draw a conclusion. You need to remind people what you just said over the last 20 minutes or so. So here's a conclusion. Myth one was about spiritual masters, and none of them taught us to be poor in any way, shape, or form. Again, why would a divine creator ever withhold itself from itself? And we are that. There is only one life, one mind, and you, me, we are that, expressing always and in all ways. And just a suggestion like Buddha, maybe seek the middle way for today. If you can't get to pure, like your floodgates, if your channels are open, like just take the next step that feels good. Just take each day the next step that feels good. Myth 2 says, if we find ourselves in debt, we can ask ourselves, how am I cutting off the natural flow of good with a capital G to myself? So what we're recognizing is, yes, there's one source. I am a divine channel of that. And the only thing blocking all that God is, spirit is, life is to and through me is me, my thoughts and beliefs. And we can work on that. And remember, when we find them, don't just go, oh, there it is. We bless it, right? We bless it with the light of our awareness, and we bless it with the light of our acceptance. There it was. I did that. That's okay now. I recognize it. It's no longer good. This is now what I want to experience. And then fill in that blank. All right. The third myth says, let us enjoy the good that we have. And if we are feeling guilty or shameful, it's time to look at what we truly believe about living the good life. What have we been told? What do we choose to believe now? Okay. And it goes the same thing about our judgments on anything. But I hear many people talk, and I've said it too. I'm not going to cast myself out of this circle about, particularly being in education. Look at the athletes who make millions of dollars for playing a game, and we're the ones teaching and counseling our future. Is there a more important job? And I would knock on them, but you know what? They've earned their good. And so all that does, if I'm judging that, is I'm blocking myself. And so that's something that I focus on daily. Do I have time? It's 51. No. All right. So Anita brought it up. I want to go back to, I'm going to skip that one. Go back to this life work that I introduced at the very beginning of the month. She read it beautifully. Let's read it one more time together. Good and more good is mine, and ever increasing good is mine. There is no limit to the good which is mine. Everywhere I go, I see this good. I feel it. I experience it. It crowds itself against me, flows through me, and expresses itself in me, and multiplies itself around me. Woo! So I've been asking for your testimonials. Anita gave her example, at least shared that she was doing it. And I know that good has been coming to her. Have you been practicing this? Just reciting this several times a day, and maybe journaling a few times a week about what have you noticed in your life that's changing. If you have experienced good, I want you to email me. There's my email, and share that with me. And maybe even give permission for me to share that with the rest of the world, even if it's anonymous, because I want to know to the people that I'm sharing this with, our beloved community, are we putting this into practice? And if you are, how is your life changing? Because I know it has to. It's law. All right. Ooh, I feel good. I hope you're feeling that flow too. So let us close with prayer, as always. And speaking of flow, recognizing there's one source of this divine flow, and I am that right now. Each one who hears my voice is a channel of the divine flow. Nothing can prevent that. It is here, it is now. We are experiencing our good as individuals, as a perfect spiritual community in St. George, as a greater community within the St. George and Washington County. And it just ripples because we know there is no spot where the divine is not. It's everywhere. So everyone is experiencing the highest level of their good and letting it in. And if there are any walls or barriers to that, I am knowing that we become aware of them in the perfect and best way so that we can accept them, that we can bless them, and allow them to be by replacing them with what we know is true, that God is good and only good. And so we take this with us the whole week. We release this idea of shame. We release the ideas that we shouldn't receive and the blessings that we are inherently born with. It is our birthright to experience the full degree, a life of freedom, of pleasures, of happiness, of joy, of health. It's here, it's ours. We choose it together and confirm it as we say together. And so it is.
And so it is. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Joe. What a great talk again. I have been practicing and noticing the good and more good around me. And honestly, it's so much. I almost
Can you share one with us, with our listeners?
Oh, sure. So many years ago, I was an ally for the LGBTQ community, and I was trying to save the lives of kids that were killing themselves all over Utah forever and a day. And I tried to reach out to the community, most specifically the parents, and they wouldn't come. They were afraid. They wouldn't come to support their gay children because they were afraid of the repercussions of their community and their church. And it was heartbreaking, but there was a couple mothers that stepped in. And last night I was invited to a dinner with a Christian pastor. I can't think of his name. I wish I could, but who spoke. And the room was filled, like with 75 parents of LGBTQ plus children. And they were there to shift out of the judgment from what they had known and were listening to this gentleman talk. And they were sharing their stories, and it was so much good. It blew me away.
I can feel it from here, just as you're talking about it.
Yeah, lots of tears, and I sat in the room. I'll have you know, my reverend, I sat in the back of the room, and when they were opening up and they were playing, they played Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and some other, there's a really great pianist guy that was there. I was shutting my eyes and I was praying, but the praying was gratitude only for what I was able to sit there and experience, all of this good that is now in the world
In the world, yeah.
that wasn't there 10 years ago.
What a blessing.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah. And you were a channel for that. To
Yeah.
experience that, to allow that into our world. So thank
I know
you.
I've got to stop asking what's mine to do because things keep showing up. So
Well, thank
there's
you
a
for
lot of
doing
work,
so.
a lot of work to be done still here in St. George, but it's changing. The good is showing up.
There you go. Well, thank you, sir. And I
Thank
appreciate you sharing that. I know that's very
Yeah.
personal.
It was beautiful.
Yes. All right.
All right, everybody. So it's time for announcements. And the first slide that is going to come up is going to be about something, but let's see. It's about our next in-person gathering. So our next in-person gathering is at my favorite place. It's a gorgeous place. It's called Pioneer Park Gazebo. It is in St. George. It's up by the Big D up on the hill that overlooks St. George. It's where the garden is. I can't remember. Let me go ahead and just add the slide in case Star is having technical difficulties. We'll see here. There we go. That's it. Look at how gorgeous that is. That's where we're going to be meeting. Reverend Joe is going to be there. It's Saturday, November 12th from 12:30 to 3:30. Go ahead and mark your calendars. It's a fantastic spot. And our gatherings are getting to be quite large. They're almost like Sunday service, except we don't actually do Sunday service. We do a little bit of a spiritual practice of sorts. Last time it was extremely powerful. There was many people and we did some cool spiritual practice. I won't go into the detail because I'm waiting for the next slide. And I think Star might be having some technical difficulties. But anyway, the next slide is our bookstore. And this one is very, very, very close to my heart. It is the book is, I don't know the book yet. I have not actually read the book. I just purchased it, but it's part of the purchase benefits Camp Cedar Ridge, which many of you know. I was there for 3.5 months this summer. Most magical place on the planet. Adored it, adored it, adored it. If you want to get in touch with Sue Fulmer, she's Sue Fulmer at CSL St. George. It is starting November 3rd, Thursdays from 6 to 7. You can buy audiobook, and that is how it will benefit CSL. And you can buy that at www.awesomehomelife.com/book. All right. So our community care circle is still up and running. If you find yourself in a situation, you have a neighbor or a friend that could just use some compassionate supports from some phone calls, some cards, some prayer work, whatever, go ahead and call 435-893-6702. Leave a message and someone will get back with you. And of course, our practitioners are always available to you. We want to support you in whatever circumstance you're experiencing in your life, both good and bad. But we are here. You can send a prayer request if you'd like to prayer@cslstgeorge.org and request a callback, leave your phone number and information. We do offer full practitioner sessions, which we can arrange with you at that time. If you have a particular practitioner that you would like to have a session with, we are there and available for you. So, and then let's see. Now it's time for our tithes and offerings. Our center is a small but mighty little center, and it does take your support to keep us up and running and keep all of these events going and to eventually settle us into our own space again, where we can meet regularly on Sundays and have our service there. There are different ways you can do it. You can give by mail if you want to just send a check, and that's P.O. Box 3132 in St. George, 84771. There's a new way we can give, which a lot of people are familiar with. Most of our banks have it. It's called Zelle, and it's a bank-to-bank transfer system, and there are no fees associated with that. So I'd invite you to check with your bank to see if you do have Zelle, and that would be an easy way to go ahead and give. Or if we make this slide a little bit bigger, or maybe we won't, I could try it real fast. Let's see. That little symbol down at the bottom, it's a QR code. And if you take your phone camera and point it to it, it will pop the link right up to you. So let's see. After service, we have the community conversation on a Zoom link. What's where we meet and we have a dialogue with Reverend Joe and our fellowship, actually, of Centers for Spiritual Living St. George. Some of them are amazingly powerful, amazingly cool, and lots of fun. So if you have questions about today's service or comments, join us on the link. The best way, the easiest way for me to do it is to go to CSLSG.org. And then right on that very first page, there's an access meeting links, just like what you see here. And if you click on that, it'll open a document with the link to the actual Sunday Zoom meeting. And you click on that and Zoom magically opens for you. So next Sunday, we're going to have what we were calling it Practitioners Unplugged, but Anita was like, unplugged, that doesn't sound like something that we want to be. We'd rather be plugged in, because that's who we are. We are plugged in to our higher essence. So our talk next Sunday will be all of CSL St. George's practitioners. Let's see, what's the topic? Oh, it's Share It, Ferret, Do Take a Slice of My Pie. Should be lots of fun. That's November 6th, and there's no place like home. So go ahead and join us then. So our closing affirmation is here. So Star's going to start popping everybody in, and we're going to go ahead and read the closing affirmation. Here comes Gwen. There's Anita, who is missing. Star, we're all here. So take it away, Anita.
Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It's this thing called life.
Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all that I do.
I am it, I embrace it, and I share it.
Just the way that it is.
And just the way that it is becoming.
Thank
you.
Right.
Woo!
All right. Give us a minute and then we'll see you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Love you all.
Love ya.
Your good is waiting for you.
Yes.